Verity, I've never even met with a woman.
And is that why you're spiking them? So you...
No. No.
Because you can't get a girlfriend.
I just want them to feel like I do every single day. I want them to feel small and humiliated.
I need to report a crime.
Hollyoaks comes in at number 4 in my soap opera rankings for November 2022. And Hollyoaks has been going up over the last couple of months in my rankings. I believe this is the highest Hollyoaks has been since I started doing these rankings last fall. It hasn't been this high since last fall. I've talked a lot of crap about this show. And Hollyoaks producer Lucy Allen, and ever since Lucy Allen took over the show, it's been taking a nosedive in quality. I still mostly feel that way about the show overall, but Hollyoaks gets to number 4 off of the strength of one story. That story being Eric the incel. This is a story they've definitely been pushing this year and trying to write it realistic. I feel like this has opened a lot of viewers' eyes that don't really understand the incel community. But it is a community online of men who hate women because they can't get the women they think they deserve, either because they're awkward or they're just misogynist, usually a combination of both. That's what we see from Eric here. Eric had been going around spiking drinks of women, trying to humiliate them online. However, his drugging almost gets Maxine sexually assaulted. Well, it does get her sexually assaulted. It almost got her raped, but Maxine was able to escape. She was walking home from a night out clubbing, and it was attacked by a man. But she was able to escape, and the man got caught. I think the storyline has been good for the most part. I think they are kind of really hitting you over the head with some of the points they're trying to drive. The writing is very heavy-handed when it comes to the Maxine story and how men are dangerous and men are bad. I think some of that can be over the top as a man. But men can be, obviously, scumbags and creeps. And that is what Eric has been. But luckily, eventually, Maxine caught on to Eric possibly being involved with the drugging because of his tattoo in a photo. And she confronts Eric, and Verity also doesn't believe Maxine at first, but then Verity goes through Eric's computer, finds all of his incel stuff, confronts Eric. Eric confesses to Verity about the way he feels, about how he is this way because he's always getting rejected by women. It's a deep story, honestly, on a level. I don't know if Hollyoaks is going deep enough with this story, but I still think it's been enjoyable. I do think there is a community of incels who don't know how to get out their anger, and so because of the way they've gone a long time without any women or companionship or whatever, they turn to violence, and that's what we've been seeing with Eric being built up here. His laptop disappears, though. That was the last I saw of this story for November. So Eric and Verity don't know where the laptop went. And so Eric could be caught out even more publicly, hopefully soon. But I hope it's not the end of Eric. I kind of want to see Eric grow as a person from this. Because, I mean, plenty of people on soap operas, but especially on Hollyoaks, there's been far worse villains, and far worse villains have done really bad things. Eric drugging women, terrible, obviously. But he's never attacked anyone himself. So he has some room for redemption is all I'm saying. I think he's done scummy stuff, obviously. But I think there's more legs to the story with keeping Eric around. We'll see if they go there. But yeah, that story was the strongest story for Hollyoaks and what made me put it in 4th place, just a notch over General Hospital. I still think both shows could easily be in my bottom 5. I think only my top 3 soap operas are actually good right now. The rest of the 7 are mediocre or bad or even terrible. But there's some other stuff on Hollyoaks I'm kind of enjoying. Imran's health story kind of falling apart. Mizbah trying to help her son. He has this eating disorder because he's been basically hating himself and the way he looks and been putting all this pressure on himself to be kind of a perfectionist. Mizbah was having Juliet spy on him for a while. He caught on to that eventually. But he did have a breakthrough with Mizbah, and he's trying to get him help. Although she's going to send him away to a clinic that's on the other side of the country. I hope that doesn't mean Imran's actually leaving the show, but I still think they did a good job with the story. Speaking of Juliet, she's been diagnosed with lymphoma by Mizbah. So we've had the Juliet, Perry, and Nadira love triangle, basically, where she cheated on Perry with Nadira, and there's been tension between Nadira and Perry's been trying to win Juliet back. And once Juliet is diagnosed with lymphoma, she runs to Perry, they kiss, and possibly have sex. And Nadira's been noticing Juliet's change lately, not realizing she has been diagnosed with cancer. And so instead of Juliet telling Nadira her diagnosis, she only tells Nadira that she had sex with Perry. So that should put a big kibosh on that relationship for now. But Juliet looks like she's going to be going through it with this diagnosis. That story's a mixed bag for me, because Juliet's young, and watching her in a cancer story, not something I really want to do, to be honest. Warren, he's dying as well. He needs a liver. All the years of drugs and drinking and painkillers have finally done his liver in. And Norma's going to try and give her part of her liver to try and save her son. Norma's also been trying to get help from Joel to help with Warren's liver. This story is extreme. Norma's been here being the big bad now. I do like how they be trying to tie all these past villains to Norma. Warren being her son. She's had a stint with Sienna, even now with Grace. So we see past characters who were villains who've kind of had a bit of redemption over the years, now also get involved with Norma. Stuff that I don't hate it. I don't know if Warren's going to die. I have my doubts. I'm sure he will survive this, but it's an okay story. They've kind of been teasing Mercedes and Felix as a couple. I don't hate that as well. Felix needs something to do. He's one of the best characters on this show, and Lucy Allen's had nothing for him. Nothing for Felix. Just another thing Lucy Allen has done bad is Hollyoaks was doing so well last year with black characters. This year, garbage. Speaking of that, we had DeMarcus, who was still being harassed by Mason, but it finally comes out that was Mason. I just need that storyline to be wrapped up. I like how they tied Mason to the incel stuff, but I'm tired of watching DeMarcus be a weak in these situations, because I don't think that fit the character when he first came to the show. So I don't like it. I need DeMarcus to grow as a character. And I don't really care about Mason, to be honest. Olivia's been a terrible villain this whole time. She's been blackmailing Charlie. She ends up losing her job because of it, because she's actually not qualified as a teacher. But, Olivia's another character I'm sick of. So those are kind of the negatives. There's some negatives here. There's some characters that get too annoying that I get sick of. But they're teasing some interesting things, Mercedes and Felix. I think the best thing Hollyoaks has done over the last 2 months is have better focus. Because most of this year I've been complaining how Hollyoaks has no focus. They be trying to do too many stories, and it's quantity over quality, and some of the stories feel like they throw things at a wall to see what sticks. But this month we mostly got focus on the Eric story, a lot of focus on that story. A lot of focus on Imran, a lot of focus on Juliet, and a little bit of focus on Warren and his mom Norma and Grace in that situation. So I like that the show is finally getting back some focus on storylines and not just having too much going on, because it was just too much for me and too many new characters at once. Lucy Allen's done a terrible job overall. Still, I think her run might be the worst run in Hollyoaks history. But it gets up to number 4 for the month. I don't know if it will stay there. Probably because the rest of these shows at the bottom of my rankings are written even worse than this one. But for now, thanks to the incel story, which I think they've done a good job on, Hollyoaks gets to number 4.